Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Guns N' Roses Central. And we've got a ton of Guns N' Roses news today. So let's start with probably one of the earlier pieces of news from last week. So if you guys have been following the NFL and the whole controversy around the national anthem, well, Axl Rose actually weighed in. So Loudwire had a story talking about Axl Rose actually tweeting for the first time in like 5 months about this. And it's funny, Axl tweeted about this controversy, but he never really tweeted about Tom Petty. And I haven't seen any kind of in memoriam thing to Tom Petty. I'm sure the Guns will do it at some point. So about a week or so ago, the vice president, who is an Indiana native, was at an Indianapolis Colts game and actually walked out of the game because some players were taking a knee during the national anthem. And some people criticize this as being like a political stunt, while others said it was good that he did this. But many musicians have offered up their opinions on players taking a knee during the NFL national anthem, including members of Pearl Jam, Prophets of Rage. They both took a knee on stage to support Americans' constitutional right for peaceful protest, while Corey Taylor also defended those demonstrations as well, saying the NFL have every right to those in the NFL have every right to take a knee. As for the opposing viewpoint, Striper's Michael Sweet criticized those for taking a knee, stating that football is a job and not a political platform. Now, Axl didn't necessarily take a side in the argument, but he did take aim at Vice President Pence for leaving an NFL game between the 49ers, which was also Colin Kaepernick's former team, who sort of started the whole taking a knee during the national anthem and the Colts game. So Pence made his departure after various players knelt during the national anthem. So Mike Pence tweeted that, "I stand with POTUS Trump, I stand with our soldiers, and I will always stand for our flag and our national anthem." To which Axl responded, "Thanks, White House, for the $200,000 Colts game PR stunt." So if you guys have been reading some of the stories, that whole thing with Mike Pence going to the football game cost taxpayers about $200,000. Speaking of Axl, we also had Pink perform with Guns N' Roses on stage during their first show in New York City. So they've got another 2 shows in New York City. Maybe they're going to be bringing out some other guests. So she joined the band on stage for the outro of Patience. So the Guns N' Roses social media page thanked her, and she replied by saying, "Oh yeah, whatever, no problem." And then she, with some emojis as well. Now we have some sad Guns N' Roses related news. So Buckethead was doing an interview on the Coming Alive podcast, and he revealed he's been diagnosed with a chronic heart problem, saying, "I could be gone tomorrow." So speaking on the podcast, the guitarist said, "Well, recently I've had a heart problem where my heart beats out of rhythm. It's been doing it for a long time, but recently it's just kicked up and become really intense. It's been doing it for a long time, but it recently just kicked up and became really intense. I really don't know what was going on. I just tried to deal with it and let it do what it did, and eventually it would stop," he continued. "But it got really intense, so I went to the doctor and they said, 'You're on the verge of having a stroke.' They suggested I had a thing called an ablation. They go in and freeze your heart. It's supposed to do something with the nerves because they said my heart was fine, but it could be a genetic thing. They really didn't know. I had the procedure and it didn't really stop. I'm still dealing with it," he added. "I take medication, which is tough because I never took anything my whole life. Although if I eat food or drink something, that's probably worse anyway. So it's been really difficult because it's scary because it comes on. Even walking across the room is difficult. Luckily, the medication I'm thankful for because it's kept me from going berserk, but it's pretty intense." Speaking on the effect of his condition it's had on his music, he said, the day after I had the procedure, I recorded a record with my friend. I just lied in the bed and recorded it because I felt I'm still here. I could be gone tomorrow. Anybody could be gone, but that's a heavy experience. I want to play right now, and I want to play that experience." So if you guys want to listen to the full interview, I've linked to it down below in the description box. We've got some Steven Adler news this week, and this pretty much came out of left field. So former Guns N' Roses drummer Steven Adler's new book will recount stories he doesn't remember. So Steven's going to be coming up with another book, and it's called Steven Adler, The Shit My Friends Remember I Did. So the former GNR drummer spoke about the project during an interview with Eric Blair of the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show at last Friday's Bull for Ronnie event in Studio City, California. So I've linked to the interview down below, but he said, "I was doing drugs for the last 25 years. Well, not the last 3.5, but before, for 25 years, I drank, I did drugs, and now I'm sober. I'm talking to people and they're telling me stories, and it's just blank up there in my head. There's nothing there. So I decided I'm going to put a book together as a reminder of the stories. And I know, of course, I owe apologies to many, many girls around the world. When I was drinking and drugging, I would do and say things I would never normally say. So I hope you accept my apology. You know who you are." So Steven Adler recently started a website called Steven Adler Stories, where fans can share their personal tales about the drummer for possible inclusion in the book. All submissions should be between 20 and 125 words. Asked about what his secret is to staying sober in his late 40s and early 50s, Adler told Blair, "It's just keeping busy, and it's something that happened. It just snapped in my head one day. I was on my way, like I usually did year after year. I would walk to the liquor store and I would be there before it would open. And just one day I was walking out in front of the door to the liquor store and just something snapped in my head, and I said to myself, I can't do this anymore. And I woke my wife up and she took me to an AA meeting, and it started from there. One day at a time. And now I've got 3 years, 7 months, and 3 weeks sober, and it's like that. After the first year, it's just like you don't even think about it. And I quit smoking cigarettes 3 months ago. That was just like drinking. It was something I hated doing and hated, but I couldn't stop. And then I did some ayahuasca, and I focused and prayed on that. And within 10 days, I was able to stop. Now I smoke these little Clint Eastwood cigars, like 3 or 4 a day, which is nothing compared to, there's no chemicals in it, just tobacco rolled. Instead of the 30 chemical-laden cigarettes, I'd stink. If you notice, I don't stink right now. So we've got a new interview with Liam Gallagher, who's out promoting his new band he's out with, and he was being interviewed by Taylor Hawkins of Foo Fighters, and the topic of Guns N' Roses came up. He talked about some of his favorite bands, and sure enough, he mentioned Guns N' Roses. He said they're one of the American bands he likes. He also referenced Creedence Clearwater Revival as the groups that he'd been a fan of, before going on to praise Foo Fighters frontman Dave Grohl's old band Nirvana. He said, I did like Nirvana and liked some of the tunes. Liam said, who else was out at that time, he asks. I wasn't a big fan of Pearl Jam. He also revealed he was not a fan of Queen either. He basically said that Brian May's guitar sounds like he's got it clogged in his ass. He basically said, does he like Queen? He said, not really. I mean, I get Freddie Mercury has a great voice and all that, and obviously he's got some great songs, but I do find them a bit Queeny. He went on to say, listen, they're a top band, and obviously they've got great songs, but I don't know, man. Brian May's guitar sounds like he's got it clogged in his ass. To which Hawkins replied, poor Brian, I love Brian. So we've got some Slash news, and Alice Cooper has his annual fundraiser at Christmas time. It's the 16th annual Christmas Pudding fundraiser. So Slash is going to be appearing there along with Rob Halford, Filter, Edgar Winter, and the comedy and music of Gary Mule, Deer, Six Wire, Nita Strauss, and more. So it's going to be on December 9th at the Celebrity Theater. You guys can probably see more information in the link below. Let's go on to our next piece of news. Jimmy Webb's new store that's opening up called I Need More. So Slash and Duff were actually at the opening of the store, and if you guys saw any of the footage from the Newark concert that Guns played, Slash was actually wearing a shirt from the store as well. So they're at the grand opening. There's some video footage you guys will see at the end of this video, but Jimmy Webb, who actually used to be the manager of a store in New York City called Trash and Vaudeville, which is like a really popular punk rock clothing store, and they sell accessories and stuff. And it looks like Slash and Duff have been friends with Jimmy Webb for a long time, so they were there at the grand opening earlier this week, and Slash actually gave a brief interview as well about the store. So enjoy the rest of the video, guys, and here's some more photos as well.
Rock and roll! I love you all! Thank you! Come on in! Go, Jimmy! Come on, baby.
If you cut my hair, I need a
I dropped it.
haircut.
Move down a little bit.
Should we just on this level?
Got it? Wait, we actually should go down
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
Thank you, sir. Rock and roll! Let me know that. Take your picture. Thank you, Britt and Lori. Love you all. Come on in. Love.
What do you think I was here?
What is it about Jimmy that makes you want to support him? Pretty much what I said. I mean, he's just a sweet, 100% genuine person, and he is meant to be a rocker and he's never wavered. And he's always been very supportive of me, and we've been through a lot together over the years. And we've had a lot of ups and downs in our personal lives, and we've been friends over the years. We live in
So that does it for this week's Guns N' Roses news, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Comment down below in the comment section and let me know what your thoughts are. And be sure to subscribe to my GNR channel if you guys love Guns N' Roses and you just want to stay up to date on the latest news or get some cool retrospectives of certain songs or events in the band's history you didn't know about. You guys can also go follow me on Facebook and on Twitter. I can always count on you guys. I just hit 2,000 followers on Facebook, which is great. Big thanks to everyone who's following me, and you can also support my channel on Patreon. And I also want to let you guys know, if you stuck throughout this long in the video, we picked up our new puppy this week, and everybody was telling me, you got to name her Axl, you got to name her, Izzy, Rosie, and so we called her Chloe. And then my wife was reading Duff's book, his first book. She took it off my bookshelf, and she was flipping through like the photos through the center of the book, where Duff's showing the photos of him throughout the years. And our puppy's name does have a connection to Guns N' Roses, so one of Duff's dogs was named Chloe. So if you guys are wondering, is it connected to GNR? Yes, she is connected to GNR. So thanks for watching, guys, and have yourself a good one.